Well, what do we have here? And this is a scandal. And yes, it is a huge scandal in the league that has just blown up. You want to know a little bit about the information? Just stay put because we're starting this program right now. Muy buena mi gente, aquí nos encontramos nuevamente en otro programa de fútbol con Bambán.
Dentro del área, golpea Petit, Zidane y gol. Ha marcado Zidane el 1-0 para Francia.
Welcome everybody, and here we go. This is actually Football con Bamban, and I wanted to actually bring you one of the biggest scandals that is actually blowing up this morning, just a couple minutes ago. One of the Spanish newspaper or Spanish programs that they do, radio program shows and everything, has brought up one of the big scandals that is just making echo all over the United States and all over the world. This is something that is blowing up. This is something that is it's scandalous. And why not? Because we're talking about one of the biggest clubs in the world, and we're talking about football club Barcelona. And he has been enjoined with a big scandal that is talking about that it was actually paying money to a corporation called Dacil 95 SL, and they paid between 2016 to 2018 the amount of 1.4 million euros. And who was the owner of the Dacil 95 SL is probably what your question is. Well, guess what? It was the number 2 in charge of the Federation of the Referees in Spain. So he was actually the VP of the whole Federation of refs. He was receiving all this money that it actually came up, and he's saying actually that all that money was being invested in him for he can give advice to the club, the football club Barcelona. So it's very, 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 very. And actually, one of the titles that I will go right now with Daily News that is saying Barcelona embroiled in a corruption scandal as they are accused of paying over £1 million to an ex-La Liga referee chief for neutral treatment and advice on how to adapt to each official. So therefore, they're trying to say that the advice that this VP was actually providing to Barcelona was how to actually approach every official. So he will say probably, oh yeah, you have Mateo Laos, well, try to have your teammates to not go to him and approach or scream and yell at him too much, because he doesn't like that. He tends to pull out a lot of more cards if you tend to do that. You want to actually come in and get on the sweeter side and maybe try to give him compliment at the beginning of the game. I don't know. Things like that is pretty much what they're trying to say. However, this is something that has been confirmed. Apparently, Club Barcelona directive and the ex-referee, which is called Jose Maria Negrete, all of them has gone to the committee and has confessed already about their participation and receiving the economical compensation. All this started because we all know that in Barcelona is being audited right now economically. And as part of the audit, they were actually trying to audit why there was a payment or what reason there was actually a some amount of number of 1.4 million euros being paid to a corporation called Dacil 95 SL. When the investigation actually opened up who owned Dacil 95 SL, now everybody comes in that they find out that it's actually a VP of La Liga, and it actually occurred when he was still part of the association. He's been member of La Liga, chief referee. He's been there since 1994 all the way to 2018. Well, what is the coincidence on this? Now, I will tell you. Now, it's actually known about the 3 large sum amount of money, which if we want to pretty much know, I can give you right now that statement. On 2016, it is said that they paid this agency or this company 532,728 with 2 cents of euros. It was paid on the year 2016. Now, 2017, it was actually 541,000 with 752 euros. And then 2018, which was the last year that Barcelona started paying towards this company, was actually 318,200 euros. And this is actually an amount that has been said that this person, which is called Jose Maria Enrique Negreira, his end of contract was actually in the summer of 2018. And this is when everything changed on the committee of referees. So he no longer participates in there. So the coincidence comes inside that that's the last payment that it was actually encountered was that summer of 2018. So Barcelona did not enforce any further payments to the agency of referees after that year. Now, Jose Maria Bartomeu went on an interview with a show on this program that I just mentioned to you from La Cadena Ser, which is a broadcast from Spain. And he actually came up and said that, yes, there was a recurrent payment, that it was done all the way back to 2003, that this is something that the club has acquired continuously on a yearly base, paying this company and submitting payments for their assessment and their acknowledgement, right, that he was actually given to the club. And this is something from 2003, and he apparently stopped this payment because he was doing some cutback economically for the club. Now, I don't know how much I could believe on that now that I've been telling you that Jose Maria Negreira actually ended his contract on 2018. So therefore, the payment stopped around that time. So now that doesn't match up with what Bartomeu is saying. However, Bartomeu is saying that he did that cutback. And then because he mentioned that it started from 2003, they went back to start asking from Roussel, Sandro Roussel management or directive have confirmed that this payment was being made every month also as well, or every year, whatever it was. But this is a recurrent payment that it was addressed from the club towards this company for his services. Then it goes back that when they went back to Gaspar, which he was the owner or president of Barcelona prior to 2003, he comes in and he says he does not acknowledge this payment, that he doesn't remember making none of these payments around his time. Therefore, it puts the pressure to the first time that Joan Laporta actually was a president of Barcelona. Now, Joan Laporta decided to go on the fifth at this moment. He does not want to create a statement for this accusation around this time, but he actually emitted a communication saying and talking about that Barcelona is completely denying the participation of any manipulation or alteration towards the game as being accused in this moment, that simply their payment were done and were performed to this agency strictly for advices. However, the federal court goes exactly to the owner of the company or the former referee chief, and he comes in and he says that there's actually no documentation about none of this assessment, none of this participation, because they were all verbal. Nothing was being documented. Now that brings a lot of fishy, if you ask me. However, let's just put it right now. This is an investigation that is an ongoing. It's just a scandal that just blew up right now. We're not actually saying that Barcelona is guilty of anything. However, we can actually go back and see how Barcelona did those 3 years on the league when apparently there's evidence of the payments, right? We're not talking about from 2003. Because that's going way back. We're only talking about 2016 to 2018. So on those 3 years, Real Madrid won the first one in 2016. But then after that, Barcelona won the next 2 leagues. And the 2 leagues, by any chance, they only lost 1 game on the 2 leagues. Besides that, it was the 2 years that actually Barcelona had a big or humongous margin. I think the first year was about 14 points of earning, the title. The second one was about 11 points. So there were a huge margin of an advance in there. However, a lot of the accusation or the conspiracy, it was brought up around those years because the lack of penalties whistled against Barcelona. It was always in favor of Barcelona. They had a numerous penalties in games that they resolved by penalties that it was whistled in favor of them. However, there's a lot of plays that they were accused of being committing penalty, but none of them was actually whistled or accused. So therefore, this brings a little bit of argument back again, because we remember around those years. I remember especially when I was discussing these games and this seasons around this time, we were always saying, is it possible that a team cannot create any penalties, but they get so much? All right, you can say they attack a lot, so therefore there's going to be a lot of teams that commit more penalty. Yes, that is true. Real Madrid had the same approach. Actually, Real Madrid attacked more than Barcelona around these years. And when you see the numbers, Barcelona is so far apart from the amount of penalties that it was accused towards Real Madrid versus Barcelona. I know people are saying right now, well, Real Madrid didn't have a good defense. Well, guess what? Real Madrid had one of the best defense around that time. And they still got called a lot of penalties against them, and calls that were really, on the gray line or maybe borderline. But then Barcelona had a lot of plays like that, and none of them were whistled against them. However, we're not going to say once again, we're not saying this is a conspiracy. It doesn't mean that Barcelona had help. Now, what do we have to look about what's going on? This is actually a precedent or a baseline that has never been encountered on the league, on Spanish league. Now, Spanish league, these last couple of years, they've been selling themselves as they're the main league, that they're the league that are the most honest, that they're following fair play. And this is one of the reasons why Barcelona right now is forbidden to supposedly acquire new players and wasn't allowed this January to acquire players. And the only reason they made 300 million when they had a deficit of over 100 million, it was because they sold most of their own properties as stuff for incoming. And so anyways, they're trying to sell all this stuff completely. I know Barcelona's been in scandals over and over and over for these last couple of years. It all started when they come in and receive one of the biggest economical transfers, or one of the biggest transfer that has ever occurred in the history of football, when Neymar was sold to PSG by force of whatever. They paid the clause, but it was the biggest amount of money that actually arrived to Barcelona. However, Barcelona receiving that amount of money still didn't know how to manage it, and they wasted all that money coming into debt. And I know everything's been blamed on Bartomeu, saying that his management and his presidency was a complete mess. Before that, you have Rosell going to jail because of all the corruption accusations. There've been scandals about the club of Barcelona paying the social media to talk negatively about Messi because they wanted Messi to go out or not get that much money. There's tons of scandals that has been going on and on and on. And then you have Gerard Piqué with Rubiales coming inside and having an alliance with the presidents of the Federation of Spain to create a tournament where Real Madrid and Barcelona are a must participation, the more amount of money. And then he actually gets a big chunk of that money for his company. Now, there's been so many conspiracies, so many accusations, so much scandals towards Barcelona. To have this one on top of the table is actually unheard of. Now, if you go to something remotely similar, I will not say that it's identical, because Juventus was actually punished on something similar. They were bribing refs, apparently, and it was found an accusation of some of the refs that had confessed that they were investing money with them and everything to help them out in the game. They got relegated to the second division. And not only they got relegated to the second division, they took 2 titles away from Juventus with that accusation and final sentence. So I don't think the league would dare to do such similar thing to Barcelona. I don't even think that they will actually go on as drastic as they're going right now. I think the most of the league will probably do is reduce some points. However, I don't think they really will do anything, because this is actually right now an investigation that is ongoing. However, if they get accused or get confirmed about really manipulating, I don't know if they will really get a confession, because this is more like a he says, she said, and having the SIL 95, the former La Liga ref chief, it's going to be hard for him to confess on anything, because he knows that by confessing of really helping or really manipulating, it's really going to bring him years in jail. The only reason this might happen is if one ref decides, or multiple refs decide to say, yeah, I was approached and talked about and said, you must help Barcelona. And they will say that they declined and they didn't do anything. Anyways, something like that might change the case. But besides that, I don't foresee the Liga actually enforcing any big, humongous punishment against Barcelona because of this. Because right now, La Liga is not looking good on the state of being the most powerful. At one point, La Liga was the most powerful league in all Europe. Now is running the Premier League is taking that title, and is actually, even though Premier League right now is going through a huge scandal between all the money that is being spent about Chelsea, all the scandal that is going on about the evasions of taxes and manipulations of transfers from Manchester City. There's tons of stuff that is going on. But still, the Premier League is actually running the league. It has the biggest sponsorships. It has the biggest amount of money for TV. It has the biggest sponsors. Not only that, the biggest amount of money that is going inside the league is coming through the Premier League. So La Liga is trying to enforce towards that and fighting with that. And by losing a huge incoming asset like Barcelona and relegating them to the second division, it's going to really hurt Barcelona sponsorship-wise, player-wise, because a lot of the main players right now, the superstars that they've done, it's going to be running away. Now, minding that to talk that currently right now Barcelona is estimated to be over $200 million euros in debt. So by you relegating them down there, it's not going to help them increase or pay out their debt. What is going to be forced? Maybe Barcelona will have to be forced to be an anonymous entity, or to be owned by a property. Some billionaire will come inside, a sheik or one of these billionaires will come inside and acquire the team. So that might be something that it could happen to Barcelona if they actually relegate to the second division. However, this will really hurt the brand of La Liga, because it's less sponsorship, less TV amount of money. Now you have only Real Madrid to be your main star, and that is not good for La Liga. Now this will hurt actually also even Real Madrid, because Real Madrid feeds a lot on the social war that we have between fans. Barcelona fans versus Real Madrid fans. They're always talking consistently. They're talking trash. There's always that friendly environment. There's always that rivalry. And by taking that rivalry away, even though if it's for a year, it's very painful for La Liga. I don't know if La Liga really will consider such a drastic method or mode. However, I do believe that they need to enforce, and they need to put a statement if this is found to be, if they found to be guilty on this case. But I'm not sure exactly at what extent La Liga is really going to dare to do something. Therefore, I think this is going to be another thing that is going to be political. It's going to be swept under the rug. It's going to just be like a slap in the hand saying, "Don't do it again. Straighten yourself up, and I'll punish you probably by not allowing you to bring any new player for 1 year or two." I don't know. It's going to be something like that. However, we don't know how this will escalate towards FIFA, or it will escalate towards probably UEFA. This is going to be something that we're going to have to see eventually in the future what will happen. However, what I can say up to this right now, this is the biggest scandal that has just popped up this morning. Barcelona is trying to claim that this is the wrong timing, that they have a game tomorrow on the European League versus Manchester United. This is not the right time to bring all these conspiracies, because mentality, it can hurt and affect the entity of the club, of the players. They're actually in cloud 9 right now, enjoying 11-point lead in La Liga. And Real Madrid is actually going to play today against Eibar. But if Real Madrid does not win a point today, then they will remain with 11 points behind Barcelona, which Barcelona, it's almost guaranteed to win the league after that. They will have to be really horrible to actually lose La Liga. But, these are things that are going to happen. This is things that is going to be eventually this is eventually negative for the entity of the league and the entity for the club, or for every other club. Therefore, I don't think Real Madrid, you will hear them speaking about it because of the facts that I've just mentioned before. I don't think the league is going to push too much towards this rumors or scandal that is going on. And I think Barcelona is going to look for a way with the league and the president of the agency, of the federation, of the Spanish Federation. And they're going to try to look for reasoning and justification to just sweep this under the rug. However, don't expect much, but I still have to bring the news to you. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know if this is the type of information that you appreciate, that you like for me to just continue to bring into this show, or you just want me to just talk about sports and that's it, about the results. I don't know. Just let me know in your comments. Let me know what you think. Give me a like, and whoever's not subscribed, hey, I appreciate it if you subscribe. This is going to help the algorithm. This is going to help this channel actually to grow up. Well, also don't miss later on today. I'm gonna be, I think to later on today it will be to the air, or it might be tomorrow. But I'm actually bringing one of the uninvited. It's gonna be a person coming inside to the show who's very knowledgeable about football, and I've enjoyed a lot in the previous times that he's participated with me in the show. And he's a big Barcelona fan, so he's gonna be talking. We're not gonna talk about this topic. If we do, it might be something superficial, but we're mostly going to focus about his ideas about how he looks and how he sees Barcelona completing the league, and mostly focus on the game of tomorrow, of the analysis of Manchester United versus Barcelona, and his opinion pretty much about what's going on in Champions League. So I hope you enjoy that show as well. I hope I can bring that up pretty quick for you guys today also, so you can continue enjoying about more shows and more news about football as you enjoy it. So therefore, I want a big hug for you guys. Thank you so much. A shout out for every single one of you guys that has been here all the way to the end. And I'll see you until next time with Football Con Mamán. Ciao.